the treasure under the bridge. There was a Hasid, a very simple person that lives in a simple place in Russia. And he was dreaming the same dream every day for 1 or 2 weeks. And the dream was like this. He was dreaming that there is a treasure under the bridge in the big city in Russia. And he should go there and search for the treasure and take it home. He was ignoring this dream, but he told the dream to his wife. His wife, every day after he told this dream, said to him again and again, listen, you have to listen to the dream. We are so poor, maybe there is a treasure under the bridge, go there. So he take his, horse and carriage and went to the big city. And he was looking to the bridge that he was supposed to search for the treasure there. He looked that there is a soldiers, Russian soldiers of the Tsar, walking there, and they were very intimidating. So he was looking and thinking when they will go away or a little bit go further, and then he will go and see if there is something under the bridge somewhere. In a few seconds, when he was very tense, one of the soldiers came to him with a face that was really full of aggression and said, what are you looking here? And what do you want? And why you are walking here, actually? What are you doing here? What is your purpose? And this Hasid says, listen, I'm telling you the truth. I dreamt a dream, and there is a treasure under the bridge. So I just came to see, where is this treasure? I need to see, maybe there is a treasure for me. So he looked at him and he said, what? You pay attention to these stupid dreams? I have also a dream that a certain Sir Isaac, he was not Sir, he was called Isaac Jacobs. A certain Isaac Jacobs that live in a certain village a lot of kilometers from here, has a treasure in his oven. You think I'm paying attention to this? So Isaac Jacobs said to himself, okay, I must come back to my village, to my home, and look if there is a treasure in my oven. He came back all the way, and he knocked on the door. His wife says, what about the treasure? He says, let's look in the oven. He opened the oven, and there was a treasure in the oven. This is our Hasidic story, and Hasidic story has healing effect. That's something I saw. But I'm not going to talk about this. I had to open it just for a Hasidic atmosphere a little bit, seeing that in every story, a simple story, there is a treasure, and we always should come back to our treasure, as Rabbi Nachman from Breslov says. So I want to say something about aspects of hope in Jewish history. I will say, first of all, that in order to open the space of hope, we use human relationship. And what I want to say here is to differentiate between what psychotherapy point of view is and what Hasidut point of view is. And I'm a psychotherapist and I'm a psychodramatist, so I like to combine between those two. Actually, psychotherapy starts from the idea of conflict. We are in conflict, in contradictions, in a battle between ourselves, inner selves, between body and soul, and in conflicts between others. And if someone has God, also he has conflicts and all kinds of claims to God about his reality and things that happens in reality or didn't happen. Actually, we are in a battle. Hasidut says that before the battle, before the conflict, before Freud, comes the light that God created the world with. This light, it's not conflictual, and it's not in contradiction. Actually, the light wants to be revealed outside of the person and to have impact on the world. We call it tikkun and tikkun olam. Not only doing psychotherapy in order to provide well-being, but in order to say to the person, your problems doesn't come only from the conflicts, inner ones and in relationship. It comes mostly because you have an inner light, a very unique one. You have it. What you have, the others doesn't have. And the purpose of your suffering is that this light doesn't come out and cannot influence and bring good to the world. And this is the basic of your suffering. The conflicts comes after. Hope in Jewish history and hope in Jewish theosophy goes together. So when we want to learn about hope in Judaism and we want to learn hope in psychotherapy, we can start combining between those two. So I will say something about hope, and then I will come to a very specific Hasidic term called unity of opposites and carrying opposites. Because I'm afraid I will not be on time, I will say the end of the thing. Actually, in a research I did that I finished a few months ago doing my doctorate in psychology, I realized, it's a quantitative research, that hope can be created, especially in a group psychotherapy, when a person or a group recognize that they have inside of them contradictions. They have inside of them opposites. We can say that this is the complexity of life, but we say the word opposites. We are created from opposites. We have weaknesses and strongness. We have biggest and smallness. We have infinity, and we are people that can end our life in the time that we should end them. So it's like knowing the opposites. The more we recognize that we have opposites, and there are opposites in life, so hope can be created in certain manners when we use certain things in a session that recognize these opposites, and not only this, really can create a certain atmosphere that a person can believe that the difficulty he feels now with small steps can reverse itself from something that is difficult to something that is better. So let's see what Judaism says about hope. Talmudic expression, everything is foreseen and free will is giving. I think the psychiatrist that was here before this session said it. It's such an important way of thinking. Having to know, knowing that we have a choice. This is actually therapy. People said a lot of beautiful things about therapy here. But the idea that a person comes with a certain problem and he feels that it's total the problem and he doesn't see anything else, but suddenly after a therapy he feels that he has a choice and he can have a free will, that's the place where hope can start. Even if a sharp sword is hanging over one's head, he should not prevent himself from mercy. This is the Talmud. What's the Talmud says? He says that the person shouldn't prevent himself from mercy. When we have compassion on ourselves and we are in trouble, the idea that we feel compassion about ourselves is not self-pityness. We feel sorrow about ourselves. This is the moment we are not so total and saying, okay, I'm desperate and that's it, finish with life. I know that there is something there when I mercy myself, when I feel mercy about myself, and maybe something will change. The evil, Baal Shem Tov, is the founder of Hasidut, says, the evil is a chair for the good. Dr. Abulafia already said it, but it's the idea that there is not a contradiction between bad and good. Everything comes out of, in everything bad, there is a root of good that wants to be revealed, but it couldn't. So we know and we recognize this suffering, and we give it a place, but we also know that it might indicate about something that wants to be relieved and go out, but it couldn't be done unless the crisis that a person suffers from. Escalation indicates elevation. In every moment of escalation, Hasidut says, you should know that it's not that after escalation comes the elevation. Inside the feeling that you are down and desperate, there is a point that from there, it indicates the point that from there you will be elevated. In every aspect of life, there is a divine spark that wants or waits or needs to be released. 2 facts on hope in Judaism and five basic assumptions. Fact 1, the root kava, which is the root of hope in Judaism, appears 414 times in the Hebrew Bible. Hope in Jewish philosophy is a paradoxical experience. It's not only a positive experience, it's not only optimistic experience, it connects to the way we realize that it's paradoxical. As expressed in the Talmud and Jewish mysticism and Kabbalah and Hasidut, everything in life, every form, every situation we are is paradoxical, and we should face it, but it's paradoxical that we can contain it in the same level. It's not that now it's good and then it's bad. It's in the same level. So if it's the same level, it can transform. Transformation is one of the basic things in Judaism. Things transform themselves. So 5 basic assumptions. Hope in Jewish history, the simple wish to survive despite persecution, as well as anticipation of change from times of crisis to peaceful and quiet times. Hope in Kabbalah is acknowledging that the human experience consists of fragmentation and reparation, and it's both. It's not after this comes this, it's both. Hope in Jewish philosophy, personal and social responsibility for justice and mercy in human ethics. You can't have hope if you don't have human ethics. And it's so important to make it real in therapy. Hope in Jewish faith is waiting for messianic times. This is the Talmud, and it's one of the basic beliefs in Judaism. You wait for an era. Someone says, some people or some way of thinking, most of way of thinking, especially in Hasidut, says it's a person that will come and things will be different. A person will grow up not from crisis, just for acknowledging himself and acknowledging what's going around, what he wants, and how he can reduce a little bit his space, his ego, in order to have space for the other. This is the way things can change, but it is always waiting for something to happen, something new. It can be a person that will bring this area, but it also the point of this belief in every person, the idea that things can change for good, but not only from crisis, also from acknowledging ourselves. Hope is praying for redemption on a personal and interpersonal level. When we say Hasidut, we can talk about a lot of rabbis, but the founder of Hasidut is Rabbi Israel Baal Shem Tov, the one that brings the idea of opposites, saying that every person has opposites, and he should carry the opposites in a creative way and unite the opposites, knowing that everything is in the same path. Is Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Ladi, the creator of Hasidut Chabad. And actually, what they said, hope in the 3 fundamental principles of the Baal Shem Tov. Hope for redemption expresses itself in human relationship. Hope for self-revelation of one's uniqueness. You should spread your wellspring outwards. This is actually the main, let's say, the main energy of a person. He has his own wellsprings, and this is what he wants to do. He wants to take it out. When he can't do it, that's what we can learn from Hasidut. That's where sadness and depression comes out, not only from conflicts. Conflicts come together with it. One must stay true to his true itself, intimate self. He cannot help others if he denies himself. In every person and cosmic event, there is a spark of God. One should hope for releasing the enlightenment, the world with his or her light. I would like to finish this with saying that in my doctoral thesis, I actually realized that hope is a result of multiplied experience of transformations and continuity from one mental state to another, from fragmentation, which is a sense of absence, lack, stress, breakdown, to reparation, which is a sense of personal responsibility for regenerating. In order to make space for hope, one developed the capability to first acknowledge and then hold two opposites as part of the same continuum. One engage in authentic, impersonal, and interpersonal relationship, also with God, if someone have God. One opens himself to experience of joyfulness, positive madness, dancing, and melody. As a psychodramatist, I can say to you that each time we finish session, even if we are talking of something very, very depressed, we try to see if we can sing something or dance something or hold hands and do something that connects to movement in a way that increase the level of joyfulness, even if we know that was something very deep and stressed we felt before. I will finish saying that my research called the Unity of Opposite, the Drama of Hope, as it reveals itself in psychodrama group psychotherapy, integrating and emphasize on Jewish-Hassidic approach. And we can say that hope, we can define different hope in different way. Hope is an expression of the sense of continuity and emotional movement between opposites. It can be created by acknowledging opposites, sensual playfulness, dialogue between opposites, and transitions from fragmentation to reparation part of the same continuum. Thank you.